Hello everybody, welcome to the semi-finals. It is Stumpy and Cole here, right on time and no earlier than we needed to be, and in the exact right link that we should have joined at the perfect time. Now, Cole, the desk, they were confident earlier on that Godsmilla's team wouldn't win. One man saw it coming. I knew the Godsmilla's team would beat Solary, and I have them right now ruining my bracket, beating Vitality. Are you finally on the Gods train?
First off, this is why I love working with you, Stumpy, because you, of course, you never mentioned the fact that I interrupted poor old Wavepunk right at the end of his brilliant cast, so I appreciate you, and I appreciate that. Secondly, am I on the Godsmilla's hype? I think I've got to be. I'm not going to be the party pooper right here. They are incredible. Look at that strike right there from Godsmilla. No, in all seriousness, they're a great team. They're here because they deserve to be. They have reached this point on merit. And the man who's just hit the ball towards Godsmilla there, who takes a second shot that was almost in, a Chronic. What a debut for this young man.
Saving that shot away from K-Dub early on in this matchup just shows he's got the stoicism behind him, where he is ultimately very new. It was mentioned on the desk, the Freaky and Godsmilla, they're both veterans. They've been around for a very long time, and having a Chronic join in as well onto that squad has made them absolutely fantastic. We've seen the Mechanical Whiz kids do an amazing job on other teams. Jack and Jorius, for example, joining Dignitas and making their way to typically the third day. Not today, of course. It is now time for the Godsmilla lads. But no, I am amazed by them, and I sort of tongue-in-cheek thought they might do well earlier. I did not expect them to 4-0 Solary. I think that was partially Solary blowing cold. I presumed that they would, but Godsmilla's team, you cannot write them out. You really can't, not even against Vitality.
Yeah, I think if you'd have predicted the 4-0, that would have given you the Predicty Godlin status. Predicting that they'd win, not quite enough. But everybody seems to be backing Godsmilla's team to take this one.
I love that chat
Vitality.
did as well.
I know, look at that. Brilliant, great shout. Chat, I mean, they are up against, we have to remember, Team Vitality, the Vitality, who've reached 1 billion grand finals. Even when they haven't reached grand finals, more often than not, it's because they've gone out against Team BDS as well. So this is the team that have the pedigree and that we'll be expecting to win. And I'd say at the start, Godsmilla has had 1 or 2 slight attempts at goal, but for the main part, it's been Vitality controlling the pace up to this point.
Yeah, sending the ball high, trying to just catch out the defense. Freaky, though, has his wits about him, can clear the ball away. Only finds Alpha, however. Godsmilla has to get an awkward touch as Freaky and K-Dop on that right-hand side do just try and bungle that ball through, and bungle they do successfully.
Yeah, eventually it finds its way home. K-Dop attacking Freaky, and then Fairy Peak in so quick. Via a little touch on Godsmilla, so Godsmilla took him for a little bit of a ride. Did Fairy Peak, but it didn't put him off at all, and that is 1-0 to Vitality. And everybody apart from Twitch chat, and all of our analysts actually, what I'm saying is that Achieves is going to be really happy.
Achieves with his ever-rotating conveyor belt of incredible mugs. This one having cats on them that I don't even think he owns. I think that is a dollar store mug that he's just picked up, and he's never met those cats in his lives, but it's a great mug anyway.
Not appreciated in the Rocket League scene are Achieves' mugs. Keep an eye out for them, ladies and gentlemen. As Godsmilla puts that one into the center, I think he wanted a Chronic to turn on it and attack it. Wasn't to be, and Godsmilla is playing with a lot of freedom right now. Always seen as a third man, as a player who's happy to fill in the gaps where perhaps his more mechanical teammates need a third player to be. Whereas right now, we're seeing him play with full confidence, and why not? I mean, this is the team that bears his name. There are so many people watching right now. Godsmilla's team take to the skies as Freaky peppers another shot onto Vitality. Godsmilla sends it wide, but they are having shooting chances.
Chronic has been such an aggressive defender as well. There was a chance where Vitality were about to get past the halfway line earlier on. He was a third man back, and he raced in for a 50, took it to the ceiling, and then passed it to Freaky. That then led to the Godsmilla shot on net. He is quick, and he is spicy. He's making sure that whenever he gets a chance to go for the ball, he's taking it, even when he's the third man, breaking conventions of Rocket League, which may catch the old guard in Vitality off.
Well, there he was there, attacking that ball quickly yet again as he got that boost. Maybe could have taken a touch, but opted to send it long. Eventually leaves Vitality in, and that one flashes dangerously across goal. K-Dop takes it under his control, under his spell. His Fairy Peak, he shoots. I think he was shepherded out wide by a Chronic who can challenge Alpha 54, but Alpha 54 will net that first, so get that next touch, and Godsmilla had to hit it next.
Decent chance here for K-Dop to work it out of defense, slows it down, goes to the 50 with Godsmilla, and Alpha with enough boost to send it twice onto the backboard. Will there be a third touch coming in? The attempt was there. Now can Freaky outpace Terry Peak? Not on his watch, as Acronic goes up and does beat out Alpha. Smilla to Freaky. Will roll down awkwardly, but Alpha, look at him, immediately up towards the backboard. Will get the clear away. However, the continued attack from Godsmilla's team is going to do so. 14
more seconds for Godsmilla's team to ensure they don't lose their first game of the day and their second best of 7. That one's high. Freaky up against K-Dot. K-Dot gets a great block. So Acronic falls to. Freaky tries to flick it on its way, but can't quite manage it. Godsmilla still involved.
Very aggressive
Final
from
third of the
Smilla
pitch.
as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's good to see. With 20 seconds left, they've got to be aggressive.
Yeah, there's no point losing by 1 goal. You may as well lose by 2 or 3 if you're in the last 20 seconds. Just try and hammer out as much offense as you possibly can. Couple of chances as Acronic will catch it in midfield. Not too much boost though, and K-Dog can work it around the side of him. Final chance for a push now. Godsmilla gets a very awkward touch, sends it to the ceiling. Very Peak with the 50, along with Freaky, who misses, leaves it to fall. The touchdown from Vitality. And look, they just, K-Dot rubs his head. Fairy Peak stays at 2 FPS. And Alpha looks stoic. Vitality eking out a 1-0 victory.
Yeah, they've always been able to do that, have Team Vitality. Very comfortable in the last minute or so when they have a tenuous lead, not likely to panic, unless, of course, they are against the BDS or somebody like that. But I think with Godsmilla's team, they were pretty comfortable throughout most of that match. There were, though, some shots, plenty of shots, 7 in the end, that came out through Godsmilla's team. So I would say that if there's one area that they need to improve, it's their shooting accuracy based on that.
Yeah, I think it's a case of allowing Acronic to... Well, it's not even a case of allowing Acronic to work his way in. It's just a case of Acronic being allowed to Vitality work his way in, because they're doing such a good job of shutting him down.
Yeah, it's true. He hasn't really been able to stamp his authority on this series so far in a way that we've seen him do on this very stream over the last few days. Such a talent and such a player that's always worth keeping an eye on as we head to Forbidden Temple and game number 2. If you're on Godsmilla's team, Stumpy, what are you saying to them so far? Because I think the first game is a feeler and they've felt it out okay.
Yeah, it's just a case of getting the series going. You're going to win it sometimes, you're going to lose it sometimes. It's not a massive drama in a best of 7. There's lots of opportunities going forward. If it's a best of 5 or even a best of 3, it's a different story. But these guys, they'll be completely used to this. Especially, it's going to be down to Godsmilla and Freaky. Just let Acronic know that this is part of the motions. And Freaky going through the motion of the ocean and upsetting Fairy Peak in net.
A very freaky goal as well, just letting his more mechanical opponent
Alpha.
And Freaky's there. He's watching him the whole way. He's thinking, Alpha, you want to touch that? I know you can. And if you do, I'm going to be there to pounce.
Yeah, making sure that he can just poke that net, gets the shot on target, and will be the opening goal in this series and in this game for Godsmilla's team. I somehow almost forgot their name. I was really close to forgetting Godsmilla's team, and it's like 2/3, 2/4, half, some would say, of the names that are on the pitch.
Yeah, it should be fair. I think because it's so easy to remember, it swings back the other way and becomes quite difficult to remember. It's like, that can't possibly be it.
I keep reading Gods, and I'm like, Gods? That's pretty big of them to claim.
Well, will they ascend to that level? A couple more victories today, and perhaps it could be argued that they have, but there's a shot for Alpha. Can he get the next touch? He doesn't even need it, and it's 1-1 with a minute gone.
That was good attack by Alpha as well. Just continues going after Kato does miss that double tap. And it's up before it lands too awkwardly as well. Godsmilla not realizing where the shot was going to be coming in from. Hits the post, finds its way in. Decent reply from Vitality to continue this game.
First game that we've had, but both teams have scored. And it happens fairly early on in the game as well as Acronic challenges Fairy Peak. Ball slings its way out wide and Kade up via the ceiling. Finds Fairy Peak then. He goes for a flip reset, but won't be able to do too much with that. Freaky's touch was good as well. And then his 50-50 was a little bit awkward. Sets up Acronic to try and block out K-Dot. They're aware, and I would say that the main thing I was worried about was that Team Vitality, on day 3, semi-finals, they were going to come out and outpace Godsmilla's team. Godsmilla's team wouldn't have a sniff of the ball. But that's not what we're seeing so far as Fairy Peak almost gets a doink, is it?
No, I think the case is that Acronic knows that he can be faster than anybody on Vitality, maybe excluding Fairy Peak at his absolute fastest. But then you do ultimately, and this isn't a jab at them at all, have Freaky and Smilla, who are slower, more calculated players. And you're going to have to try and adjust for that. But that demo from Smilla does not help out the defense whatsoever, as K-Dot can come in and secure the second.
I mean, we talk about speed, and here's a player that has been upping his pace throughout the RLCS when he was looking a little bit slow at the start of full. And in recent times, K-Dop is just about regaining the assumption that whenever he's going to get a shooting chance, he is going to take it, and he's beating opponents to the ball again. And I think it's K-Dop's form coming back that's coincided with Vitality returning to the true second-best team in EU.
Chronic now on this left wall can try and get it central, but his Octane unfortunately not tall enough. If he was in a Merc, that would have been a touch onto the ceiling, but unfortunately it's not competitively viable. Now Chronic heads to the backboard. Fairy Peak, though, is waiting. Freaky will take a touch here instead. He'll send it central, actually catches the entire defense off guard. Alpha on the return from the backboard can clear it away. A Chronic is in to stop that counter-attack from forming, but good defense is just Freaky taking little jabs, little jibes at the net when maybe he should be passing central, get his teammates a little bit more involved, and stop being such a one-pronged attack.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. Godsmilla's team are tending to shoot when they could put it onto the backboard, could slow it down and could take a touch. It's making them a little bit easy to be read. And Team Vitality have such good goal line defense, even against teams that are more creative than this. They're really going to struggle to save a clean shot like that when they have men back. A team that, what they are very good at is conjuring up attacking plays like this one as Fairy Peak goes down the right wing. Asked the question of Godsmilla, and the answer wasn't too good because it was only as far as K-Dop. Godsmilla's still lingering on the final third. We're seeing him play like that a lot recently, looking for redirects and hoping for passes from his teammates and just trying to be the player that interferes the Team Vitality defense. Perhaps they see that as a way to break through them.
Vitality, though, just continuing this offense and making every touch they have matter. Godsmilla's team are going to need to start doing that as well. That corner boost is stolen by Godsmilla, who then goes and gets the second as well. The boost starvation strats coming out for Godsmilla's team here. Opportunity is K-Dop has to burn 80 to 100 just to clear it off the opposite side. A Chronic, that new young lad onto that roster, can't quite get the touch pass. He gets bumped, and K-Dop central can't hit it over Freaky. Does fake him out, though. It's starting to look like Vitality is just keeping that level of control no matter where the ball is falling on the pitch.
There was a miss, though. It comes to a Chronic who fakes out K-Dop. The 50-50 is a smart one, sending it to the backboard and making sure that Alpha has to use his genius to just completely suppress that attack. As soon as Alpha had it, you just knew that he was clearing it well.
K-Dop misses that clear, but instead it falls. Fairy Peak can get it away with a 100 boost pickup as well. This could be dangerous until Godsmilla gets himself in the way.
Ooh, hello.
The flip reset. Godsmilla showing off that he has also got a little bit of mechanics in the box. Alpha with a clear to the side. Just burns out a little bit of time. And with only 30 seconds left, Godsmilla's team are going to need to get a goal very, very soon.
They're doing their best to force the issue, but Vitality are holding strong. They do, though, have chances and time on their side. Godsmilla into the corner. Not quite cornery enough. Just bounced out into the center rather than angling back towards the goal. But this is smart for a Chronic. Freaky's following it. Godsmilla boostless. Puts it to the side and has to chase that 100. 10 seconds left, and they're a long way from where they need to be.
That was so long. Godsmilla's rotation was painful to watch because of the low boost, and as that is just wearily tapped towards the net, it can be cleared away by K-Dop. A Chronic, though, will keep it up. Alpha aiming to just smack this into the floor until Freaky gets his big German Fennec onto the back of it. That bump from Alpha will just mean that Chronic has to keep it up.
Oh, there's a chance here.
Commit.
Oh, the
Freaky worked his way in, but he was waiting at the halfway line. A little bit of despair from Vitality. It was Godsmilla's team waiting too far back, being a little bit too safe, and Vitality take another game.
There was a double commit from Team Vitality right at the end and a double miss as well. Godsmilla obviously had no way of knowing. Had he known, he could have stayed grounded and put that one home for the easiest finish in the world. But it didn't happen. And it was a slightly tougher game for Godsmilla's team there. I think that we could see the difference in quality just starting to expand the difference between these two teams. Godsmilla's team just got to keep on fighting and hope they can steal a couple of goals, in my opinion.
It's certainly the smaller things that are making this series, I think, where there are a couple of chances in a lot of these games where if there's that little bit more imagination and inspiration of sending the ball central, going to the backboard, taking a solo play, but then forcing it into a 50 issue and then making it a team play when you realize the solo won't quite work. That is what's missing from Godsmilla's team right now. And Vitality, they're just staying steadfast. They're waiting, they're knowing these chances will come in, and they're not too worried that they're going to be scored on because ultimately the ball's being patted at the net. So a bit more pace, a bit more spice if you're taking a single shot, but ultimately involve your team. A Chronic is absolutely outstanding. Really make sure you utilize him a lot more.
There's more consistency as well from Godsmilla's team when they do have a tiny pocket of space on the pitch. It's so rare But whenever it happens that you get a clean hit, you have to make the absolute most of it. When Team Vitality are happy to defend and sit back on relatively small leads, but hello, there's your creativity, Stumpy.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is an absolute work of art. Get a Chronic signature on the bottom corner of that, because I need that pinch framed and hung on my living room wall. That is gorgeous.
A single moment can completely change the way a team plays Rocket League. Suddenly they start showing belief. Suddenly they show the people watching on at home why they're such a good team, why they've reached this point. There's another pass that just goes agonizingly across the face of goal, but couldn't quite be met. But Godsmilla's team have come alive until K-Dop takes one touch and then a second one. A goal for Vitality could really hurt them, but they do have a chance to counter.
Awkward start to a dribble there by a Chronic. Didn't realize how close Alpha was, and as he gets that demo as well, Perry can try and work his way in. Instead, it falls to K-Dop. Good challenge there by Freaky. Can clear it into the orange half. Going to get this central. Chronic is waiting. A Chronic is up. A Chronic is challenged.
Ball's going to fall above Freaky towards Godsmilla, who sends it to Fairy Peak. It's Fairy Peak picks some boost. No, he doesn't. He leaves it to K-Dop. His dribble is tackled so easily by a Chronic there, and then a miss from Alpha. Vitality looking more shaky in this game than they have in the entire series so far. A few weird misses. Maybe still a hangover from that 0-second double commit whiff, which almost got them into so much trouble in the last game. A Chronic tries to challenge K-Dop, and K-Dop just about nips in there for such an important touch yet again. Vitality are always dangerous coming forward, but it's Godsmilla's team having more of the play.
I absolutely adore what we're seeing now out of a Chronic. He has got just that little bit more confidence, to be honest. After he scored a worldie, he's looking much more free, a lot more open, realizes he is here to play at the adults table, and he's been promoted from the kiddie seat for a reason.
Alpha sends it long. It's a good pass actually towards K-Dop, who does his best to redirect that one towards the goal, but it's a little bit wide. And now Chronic can try and fake out Fairy Peak. Great composure considering he had 0 boost. Freaky's again hovering. Whenever Alpha has a chance to try something solo, Freaky is just waiting, saying, go on then, Alpha, do what you want to do, because I'm going to get the next touch.
There's a double commit again from Vitality, and there was a defender coming in from Godsmilla's team. Couldn't quite make too much out of it, but both these teams now sending 2 players to 1 ball, which is not going well for anybody. A Chronic aiming to steal the back corner boost, hasn't spawned just yet, so he'll be slightly out of position. As Alpha picks up in the midfield, gets a pretty shoddy touch, and so a Chronic can just hit it at the sidewall. A shoddy touch from him as well. Both these teams looking like they're panicking, when really, there's not any need to.
Vitality have enough boost so that they can spoon the ball upwards and set up an aerial race. And like here again, more often than not, they're winning that race. And there's a good pass at 1-2 towards Alpha, who shoots quickly, but it's saved by Freaky.
There's no one even up there to challenge Alpha in the air. It was all him, all relied on his shot being perfect. And I think at times, Alpha's thinking there's going to be someone to challenge him. Oh. He attempts the musty flick. I've seen him do that multiple times over the last 3 days. None have landed, but all have made me gasp.
Yeah, exactly. Whenever someone tilts their car backwards, you're thinking, this could be really special right now. I think the first pro player that I saw doing that a lot was Arsenal over for Space Station Gaming. And it's definitely caught on since then at this level of Rocket League. And now it is yet another mechanic that these players have to know to be at this level. And the man who has the ball now is one of the mechanical masterminds of this entire esport. Alpha there. It's fallen to K-Dop in the end, though. A Chronic trying to show that he's just as good. Does he still have his flip or anything similar? No, he doesn't. Just has to fake it out. And Godsmilla down the wing. Cleared again by K-Dop.
I was hoping he'd use the 13 boost to find his way onto the ball to get the flip reset, but instead he just wanted to aim for the 50. The keeper waited, didn't give him the satisfaction of flip resetting it over the top. It's now Freaky. Sends it long. K-Dop is up so quickly that drops it to Fairy Peak. Beautiful touchdown. Fairy Peak can get back on the ball again. Vitality utterly unchallenged in the midfield.
Yeah, defending good, though, from Godsmilla's team, and I've cursed them, and that's 1-1.
I mean, it was good holding out for a little bit, but ultimately every fortress ends up falling. It was K-Dop finally getting in for a good challenge. Smilla awkwardly positioned, and Fairy Peak is able to shoot on the open net. Not quite as beautiful as Godsmilla's team, but they still all count as well.
This will be a huge goal for Team Vitality. If they can take this one, they'll really start to believe that this series will belong to them. Fairy Peak almost gets the goal. Now K-Dop is shooting into the floor. A Chronic knew exactly what K-Dop was trying, and now perhaps a counter-attack as Freaky goes down the left wing as a Chronic just waits for boost. That one's hitting the ceiling. Alpha, great touch from him and following it up as well. He has been so important for Team Vitality at swallowing these attacks that Godsmilla's team are chucking at them.
Final 30 seconds. Godsmilla's team have had the lead for a majority of this game. But this final 30 seconds is where it's all going to matter. It's long clear. Godsmilla going for the ball, or Alpha. A little bit halfway. Wasn't too sure himself, I don't think. Touch over Acronic, and so Godsmilla has to go for the challenge alongside Alpha. Acronic bumping Alpha into the 100 boost. Freaky, can he get something special here? Tries to edge roll it in, but K-Dub can save it away.
Now we have a chance for an Alpha solo play. Well, we did until there was a bump, and that touch from Acronic is good. Fairy Peak's underneath it. Is anybody waiting for his touch? There is. It's Godsmilla. Who's going to read this one, though? Nobody at all, and we are going to overtime in Game 3.
Fantastic game so far as Godsmilla's team just holding out as much as they can. And to be honest, if there's one player you want to hold out, it's going to be Freaky. The ceiling reset, though, from Alpha will be finding the crossbar, and that may just be a taste of things to come.
Yeah, an early good attempt from Alpha in this overtime, but it's cleared long by Acronic. Right back at them by Alpha, who takes a touch, and then he's faking out Freaky, or at least trying to, but Freaky knew exactly what he was going for to set up Godsmilla. Acronic, look at him, half rotating so aggressively, wants that ball, desperate for it, daring Freaky to try and set him up. All he needs is one more chance, and he can drag his team to a victory in this third game. Fairy Peak isn't letting him get there. K-Dub's clearance is okay. Godsmilla shoots. There's a bump attempt from Freaky, and still a great save.
It was a save from Freaky, who sent it then into the corner. I don't even know if the Vitality defender was going to get there because he was bumped out of the way. I'd need to look back at that. Not full blame just yet, but Fairy Peak getting the full blame for getting that save.
Acronic should be the next person to touch this ball. At least Godsmilla wanted him to. Quick little transition there from Alpha to have a snapshot. And it's really tricky for Godsmilla to do anything with this one. He watched that very well and managed the situation impressively. Acronic, look at those mechanics yet again. But who's closing him down? Freaky. Had to be a few car lengths forward there, in my opinion, because that could have been a chance to really put some pressure on Vitality.
Freaky, forgetting which team colours he's on right now, keeps sending it back into the blue half from a good offensive position. So Acronic with 0 boost has to try and do the work to push it forward yet again. Smilla will boom that long, low on boost, has to do something. Fairy Peak will miss, calls Alpha onto it. As Acronic, though, gets that center again. Finally, the play is developing around the Vitality net.
Smilla puts it into the center. Acronic is going to try and get it back towards Smilla. They can do too much with it, and K-Dub can send it long towards Alpha, who's already up in the air. Freaky beats him on that occasion. Fairy Peak then tries a fairly simple shot. I think he just wanted to get himself some boost and start this next wave of attack. And it's K-Dub that has it, goes for a flip reset. Acronic underneath. Acronic clears somewhat, but it's dangerous times for Godsmilla's team, and Team Vitality, I think, can sense blood.
I saw a great tweet from K-Dub earlier when he got a triple flip reset and he didn't quite realise, so he went back and watched the replay on his stream, and he was giddy. So if he gets 1, 2, even 3 flip resets in one, he's going to be a happy Frenchman.
Where's that one going? Acronic has it. Can he get this boost as well and really do something with it? He can't, but he's got a pass towards Freaky. Freaky shoots. K-Dub combines with Alpha to send it away, but they can build again. Acronic 100 boost. Fakes out Alpha.
Cheeky.
And then, sadly for him, the ball just lands behind him. He's still managing to find Freaky with his cheeky plays. Godsmilla tries a quick shot. Alpha, the last man in defense, gets it away.
It was a weak shot, but a good idea, I think, because there was a bump coming in from Acronic as well on the net. Got 1, didn't get 2. It's a little bit more imaginative than previously, though. That is on target. Freaky saving it away. The man who is known for having incredibly stoic and standard defense will get it away again. Counters to the attack. Acronic to Smilla, onto K-Dub, into Vitality's hands.
A very stubborn defender is Freaky, but I think as this overtime is developing, he's playing a lot further forward, beginning to get himself involved in the play on the other side of the pitch, which is what his team need to stand a chance at scoring this next goal. Freaky could be wrong-wheeled here, but he's managed to get a touch towards K-Dub. Alpha's coming in. This could be the end. It's onto the crossbar. Fairy Peak steadies himself, but Fairy Peak doesn't have the boost or the positioning to get any sort of power on that shot. Hang about. Where's the defense? Acronic can't get there. Freaky gets half a touch. Still danger. Godsmilla can't get a touch. Fairy Peak nips it again. It's pandemonium for Godsmilla's team. And finally, Acronic hits it cleanly.
It was full panic stations there for Godsmilla's team. Finally, they can get a long shot coming off. Acronic again going for a bump. But talk about that defense from Godsmilla's team. That was so well held. And Fairy Peak, my camera was on him for so much of that because he just kept intercepting.
Yeah, he did. He was milling about. He's also got another shot with Godsmilla from the side. Saves it. I don't think Acronic could have got there. He needed his teammate to get it. Freaky helps it on its way. Alpha sends it high. Acronic wants to get 2 touches off the corner. He's already got a touch like that earlier on in this game, so we know he's got those reads in his locker. there were men back for Vitality, and for a second, these players can have a breather, because everything got a little bit frantic for a few seconds there.
I'm amazed at how much synergy these guys already have. You can see on the left-hand side that Godsmilla and Freaky have moved into the Void together. They've only been a team for a few weeks, and already they've put down a lease on eternity.
It seems like this overtime is going to last eternity as well. We've already had a 15-minute a couple of days ago. Can we top that here? We're a third of the way there. Amazingly, another game of Rocket League has happened with no further goals. And Godsmilla's team doing okay. Team Vitality, I think I want to see them step forward a little bit more. This is the way they were playing, this safety-first play style when they were taking early leads. But they do not have a lead in this game, very much not. And I think they can be a little bit more expansive.
Chance for Godsmilla to send it on target, does so. Plants a couple of stats along with K-Dop, a shot on a save respectively. Freaky to send it long towards Godsmilla. Fairy Peak has got that touch, but it's more of an interference touch rather than wanting to do anything with it in the end. As that ball flies loose, Acronic has a chance to pick up the back 100. And then these loose touches from Acronic are messing him up somewhat, and he has to use so much boost to get it into a better position.
Yeah, you can tell he's not quite the finished article, which is why he's playing for a pickup team rather than being brought into more established trio. But that is part of the progression, part of the experience has been massive for him in particular. How much more can he do, though, in this game right here? He sets up Freaky. Freaky takes a touch. Aconic's going for some bumps on the Vitality defense, but look how many men. Every time Godsmilla's team come forward, there were 3 Vitality players behind the ball, defending so staunchly, refusing to let anything in, because I think they believe eventually they're going to get an easy goal.
Aconic's positioning has been so aggressive time and time again. He just took on 2 Vitality players that were coming in for an assault on his own, and he came off well from it. He is actually looking very confident. Freaky gives him a love tap into Godsmilla, however, and now we see Godsmilla's team and Vitality have a slight reset. Freaky will send it central to Loose and Lofting. K-Dop can get the touch in. Low on boost, he's going to have to try and get the central again, but Alpha calls him up, it works his way in. That's completely open. The ball rolls tantalizingly in front of the net, and nobody can score.
I'm sure that's the 3rd time in this game, if not this overtime, that the ball has just rolled across the goal line, but all the players that wanted to score it were slightly too far away. And it is so painful when you're watching it, thinking, oh, damn, I wish I was there instead of here. But Vitality going to have to keep going. Alpha can slow this one down, attempt a 1v1 play. Fairy Peak snap shoots next. Chronic catches it and then gets it past Fairy Peak. Can he dunk out Alpha? Yes, he can. Now, what can he do with this next touch? Up against K-Dop. K-Dop stands firm and stands true. Freaky gets himself involved, though. Godsmilla tries a filthy fake on Fairy Peak, but you cannot do that to the 2 FPS Frenchman.
Oh, Fairy Peak trying to go for another, like, anything to try and get it past the defense. He tried to fake it, tried to shoot it. K-Dop tried to get involved, but nothing could quite come off. And in the context of this series, Cole, we are seeing Godsmilla's team battle to try and not go 3-0 down. They are just trying to stop them having to stare down a reverse sweep.
Genuinely, I forgot. I'm so much in the moment right now of this overtime that it's easy not to remember the importance of in the context of this series. As Alpha sends it high again, look at the faith he has in Team Vitality to win that aerial race. It's K-Dop that does it, but Godsmilla's just waiting for K-Dop's touch. Fairy Peak and Acronic, I think it was, just fake each other out there. And again, another period of slow play. 8 minutes long this overtime. It's getting a little bit silly, Stumpy.
It's getting a little bit silly.
Here we go.
Godsmilla to send it right below the crossbar. We had a beautiful goal earlier on from Acronic, and this game has been a Rocket League renaissance of beauty.
Oh, wow. The simplest pass is the one that breaks Team Vitality down 3 hours later, and Godsmilla's team are back in the conversation. The series lives on, Stumpy.
How do you stare down those 3 anime profile pictures? How is it possible? That is Freaky on top, absolutely rocking his way through that match. But it came down to Godsmilla getting that goal, taking just that little bit of time to notice he doesn't take a snapshot. Earlier on, I truly believe if that was regulation, he takes a snapshot, he throws away the opportunity, and we continue for 2 more days. But instead, takes a touch, slows it down, and then bang, delivers the haymaker and wins the game.
Yeah, Godsmilla's team growing into that one. And to show how much open play touches there were. The two players, one from each team, that the top scoring on their team, neither of them were the players that had scored. So top of the scoreboard for Godsmilla's team and top for Team Vitality were both on 0 goals. Just showing how many passes there were, how many shots there were, how many saves there were, how full of life that game was. And this series now of Godsmilla's team getting their first on the board is full of life as well.
It's got to be a weight off Godsmilla's team's shoulders there as well, because they know they can take a game. They have done well. They did well previously, but it's looking forward to the current series that you're in and realizing that you are able to win a game. You can take it to Vitality, and it can be messy. Like, that was not a clean win by any means. There were team bumps and whiffs and missed shots and missed defensive plays, but they still came out on top.
Yeah, but Stumpy, if any team is not going to panic after conceding a game, which team is that?
I'm going to say it's probably Vitality.
Team Vitality. They will not care at all. They'll keep playing their game and getting chances. The Chronic was in the right position. It's actually a great save there from that shot. And then he slows it down up against K-Dub, so he's growing in confidence as well. Freaky attempts to find the backboard, but Alpha's going to block out Godsmilla's touch. Freaky could have turned there for Godsmilla's touch. Could have been the play, but safety first.
I mean, you can tell that Freaky is so clearly sticking to his typical mantra of trending back. Realizes that, okay, maybe I won't quite have this touch, I'll head back. As opposed to, on this team, a Chronic, who I am sure would have stayed, lingered a little bit longer, and then worked his way back if needs be, or taken the shot if he was given the opportunity. Neither of which are the correct or wrong thing to do in that situation, because it's so situational where the ball ends up popping out. It's just the different play styles, and the fact that we're already seeing that from Godsmilla's team does prove that there is some depth to them.
K-Dub with the next touch. High and long, and asking a question of Godsmilla. Godsmilla finds a Chronic, but the two of them, their combination wasn't ideal, and Godsmilla, what's he up to there? He's just letting Alpha go. Alpha, I think when he was in the air, he was thinking, why is Godsmilla over there? To the extent that he took his eye off the ball, and for once the solo play didn't do too much. Freaky will attempt to change that. Chronic does have a bump on it, and he leaves it. Freaky tries to bump Alpha. Oh, but Alpha is so smart and so composed. It sets up a doink pass, and Fairy Peak in the corner.
That was such a fantastic idea from Alpha. It's actually great from Freaky, to be honest, to go for the bump off the side wall into the net. Alpha read it, came out slower, and then clears it away. Brilliant play by both teams, but Vitality coming off the better.
A great example of the billions of calculations going on inside these players' heads every second as well. With Freaky thinking, do I pass or shoot? A Chronic thinking, do I go for the shot or the bump? And then Alpha, of course, thinking, at what point do I have to come out of this goal to avoid either of these players and make sure this game stays a stalemate?
We're over halfway now, still goalless. That's not that massive long overtime that Godsmilla's team did manage to win out in the end. Fairy Peak waiting central for the pass from K-Dub, but didn't quite come out, however. And now to commit to that ball on Godsmilla's team. Fairy Peak with the somewhat inadvertent back pass, but it does work out very well. K-Dub gets a little bit of help from Godsmilla, and now Alpha can lay on the charge.
That was like a sonic boom sending the ball forwards after that demo came in, and now K-Dub eventually shoots a Chronic save. It's pretty comfortable, but Alpha now has a chance for a solo play, which will be much less comfortable for Godsmilla's team. K-Dub's turn if he can get this touch right. It's sort of okay. Fairy Peak can block down Godsmilla. Alpha does have a chance to shoot again. Fairy Peak wants to get a touch here. Fairy Peak does get a touch here. And when Vitality come forward, they show their brilliance.
Man, oh man, that positioning from Fairy Peak as well. Right place, right time. Linking up with Alpha, can tip it past the defense. And that is world class.
Absolutely. Team Vitality are world class. No other way to describe them. They are just... They're great. They're really, really good at this game that we call Rocket League. The Godsmilla's team are making them fight for absolutely everything they earn here. Freaky takes a touch. Alpha just ignored the bump that was coming in and went for the ball instead. Good decision. There's a race now. K-Dub's going to win it, and a Chronic again. Another huge save for a Chronic. I think that's his third from flying across the goal. Keeps Godsmilla's team in this.
Chance Fairy Peak to work a bit out of the defense. Doesn't quite manage to. Caught out by Freaky, who was coming forwards in very, very good timing. A Chronic up to get the touchdown. Beaten out by the multiple-time world champion in K-Dub. Chance Smith to get the ground pinch. I think Freaky got the memo, though, so now that's a double commit. And the three-man attack on the Chronic in the net. And he manages to save it away.
Another huge save for a Chronic, but his team need this equalizer in 45 seconds or so. He's coming in now. Not too much boost, so he opts to send it high. Wants to get that next touch on a bump as well on K-Dop. K-Dop just stood firm. There's a touchdown from Freaky to Godsmilla, but K-Dop read it yet again. Chronic wants to boom this ball right back towards the Vitality half, but it's Alpha that has the shot. Chronic needs to stay behind this one. He does. Godsmilla, can he beat K-Dop? He can, but there's no one attacking the center. Actually, Alpha has a shooting chance. Somehow or another, Alpha found himself able to shoot, and of course he puts it away.
Look at the elation on his face as he's done that as well. That is 2 goals in. The man is just doing what he needs to do. What a fantastically placed shot that was. The second goal in this game as well. Putting Vitality a couple ahead is going to be big for this game because then it finally puts them on that series winning point, and it will send them through to the grand finals to face BDS if they can just take down the next one.
To face BDS Vitality. Who would have thunk it, eh? There's still 10 seconds left in this one. Let's see if this attack can come to anything and give Godsmilla's team a chance. Probably not. As Fairy Peak sends it long, the seconds trickle away. And Vitality, with that 0-second flourish, are making a statement in this series, going into 3 match points.
3 games, 3 goals, and 1 apiece for Vitality. And now they just need 1 more. Fantastic performance by them. And to be honest, it only started to fall apart for Godsmilla's team sort of somewhere towards the end. Like most of that time, it was actually very even.
Yeah, it was. I mean, a big part of the reason it stayed even was because of a Chronic's 5 saves. And Stumpy, history's already been made once, and it's being made again. One of our first ever tactical timeouts is coming in.
I love this timeout system. It's watching them talk, seeing what's going on. Godsmilla and Freaky are very much existing together, which I think is quite sweet. If I told you, Cole, they were living in the same house right now, would you be able to disagree?
No, I wouldn't. I have no proof to the contrary, so fair play. Chronic is in his own room. He's put the lights on. They're saying to him, look, make sure you turn the lights off. It's much better. Oh, actually, yeah. it's bad for your eyes. So if anybody's listening to this...
have the lights on or lights off?
Lights off is bad for your eyes. So definitely have lights on when you game, everybody.
Or when you go to bed. Surely you have all your lights off when you... Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Well, when you wake up, what do you do then? Because the sun's a big light, ultimately.
What do you think Godsmilla's team are talking about, Stumpy?
I was going to do a German accent. I'm not going to lie to you. Then I thought, maybe I shouldn't. So I'm going to go ahead and not do a German accent. But Godsmilla's team right now, they must just be thinking, look, we won 1 game when it was a big overtime, right? It took a lot of mental effort to get to that point, but it's something that Freaky especially has put a lot of time into. It's something that he's used to. Ultimately, a previous member of Vitality competing at various LANs over the years. Godsmilla a little bit less accustomed to that LAN situation, and a Chronic. You have to think about how he is coming through in this game. I don't know what his mindset is necessarily, because you're up against the world champions in Vitality. You need to win 3 in a row now. It's gonna be hard, and it's on Freaky and Smilla to say to him, this will be tough. We just need to play each game as it comes. We've won 1. Why can't we win it again?
I do want to see a slight shift in tactics now, I think, because this is ultimately last chance saloon for Godsmilla's team. They may as well go out in a blaze of glory if indeed they are to lose. I want to see them playing this game, this series now in its entirety, from here to potentially game 7 if they get that far, absolutely on the front foot. I want to see Freaky trending forward. I want to see Godsmilla. Why are you laughing at that?
So may I ask, sorry, can I just clarify? You're asking Freaky to be offensively minded?
Yes, because if you're Vitality, you're not expecting that. You can definitely steal a few goals just by being surprising and shaking Vitality out of their comfort zone, which is where they are right now. And that's a great start from a Chronic. Freaky puts it away. Full aggression, Stumpy Goblin.
A Chronic, what is that movement? Through Alpha, through K-Dop, and Freaky through on net. That is an outstanding start for the gods.
I hereby retire as Godsmilla's team's coach. That is all the good advice I can ever give them. Inevitably, Vitality are going to realize what's happening, and I'm out of ideas. I don't know what to do then. But no, the perfect start. Is that one going to be in as well? Oh my goodness, out of nothing. Skimming towards the goal. Thankfully for Vitality, K-Dop was alert, because that could have been a disastrous start for them.
I mean, 1-0 down already isn't going to phase Vitality too much, but 2 within 30, yeah, I think that might just shake them.
we have to remember how Godsmilla's team got here as well. They've not just been beating poor teams, okay? They 4-0'd Solary, a team that, without a hint of irony, I predicted would win today, would win the entire event. Godsmilla's team went through them like they weren't even there. So the fact that we're seeing them play now more aggressively, more offensively, with more belief in this game is not a surprise. And I think that if you're in the Team Vitality camp, you have to be weary and keep an eye on them, that they have another level than what we've seen.
I would say as well that Godsmilla's team do not seem like a flash in the pan. We see a couple of teams like this. Freaky, wow! Up to the ceiling, and then getting the block off. Doesn't go anywhere, but I still like the improvisation that he managed to show there.
Oh!
Very peak, though. He can read the ceiling better than anybody. Look at his positioning as this comes down. Opposite side, tap it low. A Chronic doesn't know where to go.
Yeah, there's no other way to describe that. He just beat a Chronic for the read, did Fairy Peak right there, showing all of his experience, just to punch that ball and Team Vitality back into this 5th game. Godsmilla's team, they've got to keep fighting and keep on the front foot despite that goal going against them, because I feel like any second, Team Vitality could just start to swarm them. And I think that would be a shame if that's how this series and this team went out of this tournament. They're defending well at this point. Vitality are coming forward. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they've done so well whatever happens. Yeah. Don't get me wrong.
I feel like if it's Vitality are going to get explosive and become spicy demons, then so be it, because something needs to come out from the underworld to take down the gods, and I reckon it may well be the French.
I thought for a second that was just bouncing on Fairy Peak. We've seen a few own goals so far over the last few days. There was one from Extra in the last series that BDS played against Giants as well. I just wondered for a second if that could have been another one, bouncing onto Fairy Peak's car, but it was not to be. But this is some good pressure right now from Godsmilla's team. They're certainly on the ascendancy in this one. Chronic's got a clean touch. What can he do with this one?
Sends it long. Doesn't really find too much from it, but this attack continues for the gods. Freaky on target. Alpha, though, drops it very low, very gently. And a couple of slingshot players trying to fly in to intercept it first. They didn't quite get to it as it slows down on the halfway line. We approach halfway in the game.
Chronic has found bloodlust, by the way, on Wasteland. He is going for so many demos. He wants Team Vitality to be nowhere near this field to set up his teammates. They are dodging him. Of course they are, every opportunity they get. Freaky's going to be the player who receives Fairy Peak's pass. Godsmilla is just trying to hover his way towards the ball where Alpha was trying to boom it away. And then Chronic's clearance is long, so Godsmilla seem trying to work their way into the Vitality half. I'm sensing a period of pressure for them coming up right now. This could be it. Godsmilla shoots. Godsmilla's wide, and that was a chance.
Yeah, it's been really well choreographed as well. Whenever they've worked their way up into the half, Alpha will be getting a goal here. But it was a very, very good position from Godsmilla's team for a very long time there. But the counter plays from Vitality, they are near perfect constantly. Alpha can just get that shot off in time. And as they go up in this game, they start to seal their fate. The wax starts dripping on the scroll to confirm their place in the grand finals along with BDS.
It's looking like it, isn't it? A return of the El Clasico, and Stumpy, that is what that means.
What that means.
It definitely is what that means. As Fairy Peak onto the backboard, Godsmilla has to send it away. There's still a minute and 26 seconds left, but you can just feel Vitality growing into this one even more, strengthening, showing the level that they have above their opponents. K-Dop to the sky. Great dunk on Godsmilla. I'm sensing that Vitality are just in complete control here right now. That goal seems to have knocked the stuffing somewhat out of Godsmilla's team.
Fairy Peak's, K-Dop's main MO right now just seems to be go for an air dribble, get a solid 50. Fairy Peak or Alpha are going to be waiting below to take the easy shot. See if he does it again, because that has been the bread and butter for a couple of plays that he's done so far when he has a little bit of time in his own half. But Godsmilla's team, they need to get something soon. Otherwise, they are going to crumble to dust and be removed from our competition here today. The RLCS will be the end of their journey, and a Chronic wants to prevent that from happening. Tries to fake out K-Dop, is not able to. Smilla with the shot on target, cleared by Fairy Peak. It is back and forth, and it's just landing to Vitality time and time again.
Yeah, Vitality are doing so well to deal with everything that's being thrown at them right now. Godsmilla's team desperate for a spark. This could be it. A Chronic tries to block out Alpha, it was. Freaky comes into the corner. There's a chance for Godsmilla, and it's saved by Alpha and K-Dop combining.
Such confident defense, and Fairy Peak from the ceiling can clear it to the side. Will Vitality get this ball first? Yes, they will. far from K-Dub onto Fairy Peak. Final chance now for Gods to stay in the RLCS, but instead they are going to be bowing out in the 4th place position. What a journey they've had today. But Cole, as you said, it's the return of El Clasico, BDS Vitality. We didn't predict anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Nobody on the desk was swept up in the Godsmilla's team magic. This is the grand finals that the Rocket League purists deep down would probably have wanted. We are going to get to sit back and watch Team Vitality take down BDS. But Stumpy, before we move on to Team Vitality and BDS, Godsmilla's team, what a story and what a journey.
I am amazed by them, quite frankly. They had an incredible performance over in their groups. They went 2-2 in the end, but they got, initially, their first game was going through Vitality. They got a game there. They ended up beating Alpha. They then took down Endpoint 3-0, and Solar in the end smashed them, but we'll try and forget that, because later on, they got their revenge. They smashed Solar, quite frankly. They went 4-0. Their lower stage as well was amazing. Liquid didn't prove a challenge. Team Queso a bit more, but they outspeeded the Cheese. And finally, mate, they finished in 3rd and 4th. They've got to be proud of themselves for that.
Wow. So we do have our grand finalists. Is this one of those rare occasions where Vitality beat BDS?
It's going to be big, no matter what. It's Vitality going 4-1 in the end versus Godsmilla's team versus BDS, who really, I'm not going to say struggle versus Giants, but Giants really put up an incredible fight against them. I think, you know what? I'm going to predict it's going to be a banger. No one could have predicted that BDS Vitality was going to be a banger.
I'm gonna go with BDS. I'm gonna be really brave, but we'll see what our desk think after this break. It's the grand finals. It's Team BDS versus Team Vitality.